Everything working this time. It appears to be working. Walking on eggshells here. Walking on eggshells. I've been working on my internet problems here in my studio just about all day long. And I'm still walking on eggshells because any moment I'm like, could something possibly happen? I don't know. I still don't know exactly what happened, what's going on. But anyways, okay. Enough of that anyways. We'll just keep going here. Hopefully, thank you so much for joining in. Hopefully, we don't have any issues along the way. But my name is Will Johnson. UniteAmericaFirst.com is my website. UniteAmericaFirst.com, because that's what we're supposed to be doing, right? That's what we need to do because the country is so divided right now. We need to unite America first. Okay, do me a favor. Share this video, share this audio. No matter if you listen to the audio podcast, please help me share it there. We're live on Rumble, Getter, Spreely. We're live on multiple locations, Facebook, YouTube. Please share. I have something that's so important to share with you tonight. And I don't know, maybe many of you have already seen this. I don't know, but I think it's so important because we are, y'all have heard me talk about this multiple times. And for those of you that have never heard me mention this, that with the regime, the current U.S. government right now, this regime, this tyrannical government, they remind me of what they did in the 1930s, 1940s, Germany. Same thing that they did. You remember, history tells us that when they found out there was books that they disagreed with, what did they do with those books? They burnt them. They got rid of them. They demolished them. Now, the U.S. government, the United States of America, we have the First Amendment. Because of the First Amendment, burning books, even deleting books, because, we're in a digital realm, but preventing you, the American people, from reading a book goes completely against the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, right? If our First Amendment rights, we have those rights to read whatever book that we want to. Now, you get the left, they talk about these books that they want to sexualize the children. And then you have people and parents that don't want those books to be in school because they're not saying that you can't have the books yourself as an adult to read them, but pushing sexual content onto children, there's laws against that already. That's not the federal government coming in and telling you that you can't read the book as an adult. If you're an adult, you want to read those perverted books, then have at it. You can read it. You can read them. You can go on the internet. You can go wherever you want to read it. But leave kids out of it. There's laws against that, or at least there should be. But see, that's when they get upset about books being removed from schools. See, those books shouldn't be in schools. But what I'm talking about right now is that the U.S. federal government went to Amazon and told Amazon to remove books from their digital bookshelf so that the American people cannot read it. So people anywhere cannot read it. That is completely against the U.S. Constitution. There should be lawsuits flying across the screen, flying across the internet, flying across everywhere. There should be lawsuits right now because the federal government is literally hindering our First Amendment rights. Now, they're doing this right now with books in Amazon. They're doing this right now, and I'm gonna show you tonight. I actually, I have a reliable source, an actual reliable source that I'm gonna show you tonight. But think about it. This tyrannical federal government created this disinformation board to go after people that's saying stuff that they did not like. Constantly saying stuff that if you said something that they didn't like, they would come out and say it was disinformation. They've done it multiple times. But listen to this one. This is with Tucker Carlson, of course, and he's talking about this story about how the federal government is trying to take away books so you can't read them, take away your First Amendment rights. And also, let me remind you, the same federal government went to the big tech companies to hinder people from talking about the Hunter Biden laptop. The same federal tyrannical government went to these big tech companies asking them to censor the American people, basically using the big tech companies as a proxy to violate the First Amendment rights of the American citizen. Listen to what Tucker says here. This is explosive. And all this coming out right before the midterm election. And you know what? You're still going to have people on the left that don't even understand or even pay attention or don't even care, or they'll make up an excuse saying, well, maybe we need to get rid of the books. Listen.
So you go on Amazon.com, and you remember this started as a bookstore, an online bookstore. It's the biggest bookstore in the world. They have everything. There's nothing you can't find on Amazon, including used books. So if you were to go onto Amazon to read books by a man who is in the news and whose ideas are directly bearing on world events, you look for a guy called Alexander Dugin. Dugin is one of Russia's most famous authors and political philosophers. He doesn't work for the government. He doesn't work for Vladimir Putin. He's just a philosopher. So if you were interested in, like, what are they thinking over there, you would search Dugin's author page on Amazon, but you would not find any results. Really? Kind of a big author to be left off Amazon. So we reached out to Amazon to ask, why can't we find any books by this guy? And then we realized because he's been banned from Amazon. So then we asked Amazon for a list of all books and authors who've been banned from their platform. And they wouldn't give it to us. So we went back and forth, and finally Amazon provided a 6-word response, and we're quoting, Amazon complies with all applicable laws.
Do you hear this? They apply with all applicable laws. I mean, really? So when did banning books become a law in the United States of America? Tucker's going to lay it out. Everyone should be highly, highly concerned about this. Highly concerned.
Applicable laws. Well, in the United States, there are no laws against publishing books because we have the First Amendment. The government can never, under any circumstances, censor any book, period, or anything that you have to say, period, because that's the core of our Bill of Rights. Then we learned that Amazon and the Justice Department were ignoring our Bill of Rights. Amazon apparently based its decision on a Treasury Department designation concerning, quote, disinformation. And that designation applies not only to Dugin, but also to his family, though not to his daughter, who was murdered recently by the Ukrainian government, but we're not allowed to say that. What did she do wrong? Well, I guess she said the wrong thing, but that's cool because they're fighting for freedom. But that's not the point. The point is, in our country, which is very different from Ukraine, we're allowed to read whatever we want. But we can't now because the Biden administration is demanding that the biggest bookseller in the world censor books that they disagree with. And Amazon complies without asking any questions.
Without any questions. Just how many other books you want us to ban? I mean, so they probably have already banned countless books. And you know what? I've heard people talk about other books being banned on Amazon. And this is freely available information that should be available to everybody. This is them repeating what they did in the 1940s, 1930s, Nazi Germany. This is them repeating it. The federal tyrannical government that we have right now is actually repeating it.
Now, this is as clear a violation as the First Amendment as you could concoct in a law school class. So then we reached out to the Treasury Department. Did this really happen? Yeah, it did. They essentially confirmed it. Quote, we don't comment on possible enforcement matters, but the Treasury Department continues to vigorously enforce Russia-related sanctions. Oh, really? There is no legal basis for ever censoring any book if you're the U.S. government. That is not allowed. That's the main thing that's not allowed in this country, period. We don't care who wrote the book. You're allowed to read it. You can read any book you want. You're an American. And if you cease to be able to read any book you want, it doesn't matter if you're an American, because you're just a serf. Well, Amazon has refused to provide us with a list of the other books they are banning, but they clearly are banning a lot of different books. And why can't we know what those books are? We're going to continue to look into this. And if there are any legal challenges to the book banning, which is one click from book burning, we hope there are legal challenges. We'll let you know about those as well.
Yep. It's just one page from book burning. It's the exact same thing. This is kind of horrifying, if you ask me. It's highly, extremely disturbing that they're doing this. That they're even pushing the idea of burning these digital books. You know, that's what I would say when people would, they would delete their Facebook accounts. People, lose their accounts or lose their Twitter or what have you, or your YouTube. That's content it's like a digital book because it becomes a digital video log, or it's content, it's information, it's stuff that you have shared, and they just come along and delete it because you said something that they don't like, or you support somebody that they don't like President Trump, right? Just because you support someone like President Trump, people have lost their jobs. This is happening right before what we got to just 2 weeks out now, just a couple weeks out now before the midterm elections here. And they're trying to suppress all this information. They're trying to prevent people from knowing the truth. It's like they're not even hiding the fact that they're doing this. And what's going to happen? Who's going to do anything about it? We can sit here and talk about it all day. The only people that will be able to do something about it are you and I. We get to make that decision, right? But again, if you look right now on all the socialist media tech platforms right now, they're preventing people from seeing what Will Johnson is saying. And I notice it even more so every single day. Every single day I do a live, every single day I share content, they're really suppressing it. And Twitter, when it comes to people being able to see what I'm posting, is the worst. I mean, it is terrible. I mean, beyond belief. I mean, the shadow ban is like, and they don't care. They simply don't care. You know what? It's like this. You can, when I go out to these different events and I go out do the man on the street and I'm talking to people and I talk to these tyrannical leftist liberals, I'm never cursing at them. Now sometimes we'll get into a yelling match, because we're yelling at each other, but I never degrade them. I never threaten them. I never do any of that. Never do any of that. But these people are not nice. They do the opposite. They're mean, they're nasty, they're hateful. It's the same thing. And it's not even just the people that I come in contact on the streets. It's just people that's in the federal government. People at these tech companies. They're nasty, they don't care, they don't like the truth. They want to hide the truth. Let me give you an example. Here's Joe Brandon. Listen to what he says about the oil companies. Now, we're just a couple weeks out. But listen to what he says about the oil companies. Listen.
My message to the American energy companies is this. You should not be using your profits to buy back stock or for dividends. Not now. Not while a war is raging. You should be using these record-breaking profits to increase production and refining. Invest in America.
So how are they planning on doing that when the Biden regime has shut down the drilling? They won't even allow them to drill. So basically, they're just saying what you currently have, take that, lose profit, basically lose profit in this drill. And it's almost like he's telling the American people, we need to prepare for war. Did y'all catch that too, or is it just me? That's what it really kind of sounds like to me. Like, we need to prepare for war. He's telling the oil companies, y'all need to do this for America. Start drilling. Forget about making profit, drill, because we're in this war. Did y'all hear him? It's really short. Listen.
My message to the American energy companies is this. You should not be using your profits to buy back stock or for dividends. Not now. Not while a war is raging.
Not while a war is raging. So is he literally, now is he saying that the United States of America is in a war? Someone confirm that for me. Is that what he's saying? I mean, that's what it sounds like he's saying to me, that the United States of America is in a war, because he says not while a war is raging.
Not while a war is raging.
Really?
Not while a war is raging.
Really? Not while a war is raging. Well, listen to this one, because this one he's talking about the oil as well. But he's talking about this transitioning off of oil. He said we need to produce more oil as we transition off of oil. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Listen to what he says.
But we see an opportunity, a real opportunity, to shift to a net zero sum carbon world in one of the most significant economic transitions since the Industrial Revolution. That's not hyperbole. That's a fact.
It's not hyperbole. That's a fact. So how are we gonna get off of oil when he's asking the oil companies to produce more oil? You hear me? Just in the last one, because he says because of the war is raging, as if the United States of America is in a war. And because he's saying that, he's asking the oil companies to produce more oil, but don't make profit, just produce more oil. So then that way it'll make him look good. He caused this in the first place. He is the reason why the United States of America is no longer energy independent. I mean, it's sickening. I'm so sick of these people. They go in there in front of everybody, and the liberal media never question what he says. The liberal media never, for the most part, they never go in there and say, well, he's not telling the truth because he's the reason. And the main reason why the liberal media don't ever say anything, for the most part, is because they were complicit with it. They were supporting Joe Brandon, putting us in this predicament. Listen to this one. Listen to this one. You cannot make this stuff up.
We're calling it a ready and release plan. This allows us to move quickly to prevent oil price spikes and respond to international events. Secondly, we need to responsibly increase American oil production without delaying or deferring our transition to clean energy.
You hear this? So we need. Let me play it again because I know a lot of people don't like hearing his voice. But listen to this. Listen closely.
We need to responsibly increase American oil production.
We need to increase oil production. This is what he's saying. After he shut down the XL pipeline, after he shut down the offshore drilling, after he shut down drilling oil on federal lands, after he caused this energy crisis that we're in America, now he's asking for them to drill. Right? He's asking for them to drill more. He's asking them to drill more. He's asking them to drill more. At the same time, while he's saying this, listen to him.
Without delaying or deferring our transition to clean energy. Let's debunk some myths here.
Okay, now he's getting ready to debunk something. Now this is priceless here. This is priceless. Let me remind you, for everyone that missed what I just said, he shut down the XL pipeline. Y'all remember that? And you know what? Actually, there was 3 other pipelines that he shut down as well. He shut down offshore drilling. He shut down drilling on federal lands. Now, I'm just reminding y'all one more time. Listen to what he says.
My administration has not stopped or slowed U.S. oil production.
Did you hear what he just said? Did you hear what he just said? And again, he's just literally lying after they just did all of that. What do you think we've been on? How in the world am I saying that he shut down the XL pipeline if he didn't do it? How am I saying that he shut down the offshore drilling if he didn't do it? People, well, you're just lying. You're just lying. Well, have you not been to the gas pump? Why do you think the gas pump went through the roof? Why do you think he's tapping into our national reserves? If he didn't shut down the XL pipeline, and he didn't shut down all of these other pipelines that were actually already producing oil, we would never be in this predicament in the first place. Under President Trump, we were energy independent. Y'all people, listen, he's lying. He's blatantly lying. He's literally lying. Listen.
My administration has not stopped or slowed U.S. oil production. Quite the opposite. We're producing 12 million barrels of oil per day. And by the end of this year, we will be producing 1 million barrels a day, more than the day in which I took office.
Y'all hear this? Again, he is literally lying to the American people. And the only reason why he's lying is because you've had Democrat after Democrat. I'm telling you, they're complaining about Joe Biden. His poll numbers are if you ask me, his poll numbers are less than 13%. His poll numbers are really, really low, if you ask me. And they're so low that he's having to do something, right? Because OPEC just already said that they're going to stop drilling and they're going to stop producing 2 million barrels a day, right? They're going to stop doing that right before this midterm election, which is going to hurt the Biden administration along with the Democrats. They did this. They created this situation. Listen to this one, because even here, you have Karine Jean-Pierre talking about the oil, and they're misleading everybody. Listen.
You're asking oil companies to further lower gas prices. What makes you think that they are going to listen to an administration that is ultimately trying to put them out of business?
Y'all hear this, right? And that's exactly what it is. And I just sit there and said it, that the Biden administration wants the oil companies to drill more without making profit. Right after the Biden regime just did this to them, the Biden regime is trying to crush the oil companies because they, fossil fuels. They're trying to crush them, and now they're asking them to drill without making a profit. Now listen to what she says, because this is classic.
How is the administration trying to put them out of business?
Well, they produce fossil fuels, and this president says he wants to end fossil fuel.
You hear that? How is he trying to put him out of business? I mean, really, they think that you, the American people, are stupid. I mean, this is like bizarre, right? This is like Twilight Zone. Seriously, it's literally like the Twilight Zone. And I'm sitting there looking at this stuff and I'm like, is she actually saying that? How are they trying to put them out of business? Biden, that was one of his promises, that he will shut them all down. He will crush them. He will end them. And she's even said it multiple times how they want them to go away. Listen to this one.
Thanks, Kareem. Following up on something Steve was asking, what is President Biden's top domestic priority now? Is it?
Yeah, so this is the domestic priority now, right? His top priority. And it's something. Is it the oil, right? Is it the economy, or is it the abortion? And we all know that they've been wanting everyone to go to the polls. And I've been saying it. Multiple people have been saying it. This is the reason why Peter Doocy is asking this question. He's not asking this question because they don't have nothing else to ask. He's asking the question because this is what they have been pushing. They've been pushing this all along. Listen.
Thanks, Kareem. Following up on something Steve was asking, what is President Biden's top domestic priority now? Is it inflation or is it abortion?
The president's going to continue to talk about issues that matter to the American people. And abortion is one of them. Majority of the American people disagree with the decision that the Supreme Court made, the Dobbs decision. That is
a lie. That is a bald-faced lie. That is a bold-faced lie. She's lying. If majority of the country wanted Roe to still be in place, if majority of the country, then why are they kicking and screaming because the Supreme Court put it back to the states the way the U.S. Constitution intended it to be? Why would they be crying about that? It doesn't make any sense. If the majority of the country, then everybody will be voting for it. And she's literally lying. I mean, these people, they don't have the truth in them.
A majority of the people disagreed with that. When it comes to the economy, the president has made it very, very clear. When it comes to inflation, it is his number one economic priority, and he is doing everything that he can to make sure that we lower prices for the American people.
It's his number one economic priority. We've heard the president say inflation is his top domestic priority, but now he's saying come next year, his first bill would be abortion related. So is his number one domestic priority abortion or is it inflation?
Yeah, he sure did. He just said that. He said the first thing that he would do next year is codify Roe. He just said that. He just said that. Actually, let me see if I can find that clip where he just said that. Because I was gonna play that. I was gonna play that yesterday but I was having issues with my internet. Okay, let me see. Yep, here it is. Let me just go to this one, and then I'll go back to that. Listen.
Senator Lindsey Graham called for an abortion ban that criminalizes doctors and nurses who provide medical care for their patients in need. If Republicans get their way with a national ban, it won't matter where you live in America. So let me be very clear. If such a bill were to pass in the next several years, I'll veto it. But we can't let it pass in the first instance. Immediately after the Dobbs decision came down, I signed an order, and my administration took a number of actions to protect the access to reproductive health care, including emergency medical care, to protect a woman's right to travel from a state that prohibits abortion to a state that allows it, and to protect the privacy of sensitive health information, preventing states from tracking women who are seeking help, because that's what some will do. But as I said when the Dobbs decision, we're fighting a battle in the courts as well. But as I said in the Dobbs decision, when it was released, I want to repeat it again. The only sure way to stop these extremist laws that are put in jeopardy women's health and rights is for Congress to pass a law. And I've said before, the court got Roe right nearly 50 years ago, and I believe Congress should codify Roe once and for all.
You hear this? And the court did not get it right 50 years ago. The Democrat Party went to the court and they got them to violate the U.S. Constitution. And all the Supreme Court did was put it back to the states the way the Constitution intended it to be. That's all that they've done. And if majority of the country want this, then what is the problem here? But they know the majority of the country doesn't want it. That's the reason why it's their top priority. Listen.
Right now, we're short a handful of votes. If you care about the right to choose, then you got to vote. That's why in these midterm elections are so critical to elect more Democratic senators to the United States Senate and more Democrats to keep control of the House of Representatives.
And see, he's not even talking about the economy. And when he does talk about the economy, he's saying that the Republicans are going to make the economy worse. I mean, really, like under President Trump, the economy was booming. Everything was great, right? But he's saying that they're going to make it worse. But listen to him. The first thing that they want to address is abortion. And then if the Democrats get what they want, this midterm election, not only will they put in abortion, but they're going to get rid of the Electoral College. They're going to make Puerto Rico. They're going to make D.C. states. And they're going to make a few other locations states. And they're going to put in more senators. And they're going to stack the courts. We will never be the United States of America again if they win this midterm election. That's how important this one is. America is done if they take this one. If they take this one, America's done. But listen to them.
And folks, if we do that, here's the promise I make to you and the American people.
Here it comes.
The first bill that I will send to the Congress will be to codify Roe v. Wade.
Right? There he is. The first thing that he's going to do, right? And that's what Peter Doocy is asking Karine Jean-Pierre. That's what he was asking her right here about what's the first thing on his agenda. What's the priority? What's the top priority? And she's trying to act like that wasn't it, right? Listen.
One economic priority. We've heard the president say inflation is his top domestic priority, but now he's saying come next year, his first bill would be abortion related. So is his number one domestic priority abortion, or is it inflation?
Well, let's not forget what the president has done the last 19 months. He has made the economy his top priority.
He's destroyed the economy. He's literally destroyed the economy because of the WEF. That's been their whole agenda, to tear down the economy. That's what they've been successfully doing.
He's passed the American Rescue Plan, by the way, as you heard me say all the time. No Republicans voted for that in Congress. And it was a plan that helped us get back on our feet with the economy.
And that is a total lie. People are asking, when is that going to kick in? When is that supposed to take place? Right? When is that supposed to take place? They are saying, well, it's going to kick in next year. But you have economists right now saying that it's not going to. Things are going to be worse this time next year.
That helped us gain or create 10 million jobs that we had lost. It also put money in people's pockets. It also made sure that businesses were able to open up. Schools were able to open up. People were able to go back into their homes, save their homes. And so that was the American Rescue Plan. That's the bipartisan infrastructure legislation, which was, again, to invest in ports, invest in the infrastructure that was dwindling. And so that is something that he did.
And again, she's not even answering the question. She's not even answering the question. He's asking the question, what is more important, the economy or abortion? Which one is more important? But she's going down a whole laundry list of lies that they're trying to say that they accomplished when they haven't done anything but made things worse. Listen.
Inflation Reduction Act that is lowering cost for the American people. He is working on the economy every day. We just announced yesterday, hearing aids. 30 million people are going to benefit from hearing aids, saving thousands of dollars a year. So that's working on the economy every day.
So you said he's been working on the economy every day for 19 months. Now Bloomberg economists are forecasting a 100% chance of a recession. So how is it that we can be barreling towards a recession, And the economy is, as the president says, strong as hell.
So here's the thing about the economy, and I've said this many times. You've heard this from Secretary Yellen. You've heard this from Brian Deese, who runs our Economic Council, is that what we are seeing right now is the job market is strong. The labor force is strong. And that is not what we see usually before a recession. And so and a lot of that is because of the work that this president has done.
Again, she is blatantly lying. Again, she is blatantly lying.
We are seeing an economy that is resilient. We are seeing an economy that is going into a transition with more stable growth, more steady growth, and that is because of the work that this president has done. That is because of the economic policy that he has put forward. And let me remind you, the economic policy that he's put forward is about building the economy from the bottom to the top and the middle out. And that is so important because it means that we leave no one behind. It means that there's equity in everything that he puts forward. And so, again, you're going to hear from the president about gas prices. That's, again, trying to make sure that we continue to keep prices low for the American people.
Last one, just if President Biden keeps going to the petroleum reserves when there are energy problems, is he giving up on his campaign pledge to end fossil fuel?
So I want to be very clear on that piece. There is no shortage of opportunity or incentive for oil companies to ramp up production. We've made that clear. Oil companies are ranking in record profits, as we have seen. They have showed it themselves. We've seen it ourselves.
The reason being is because it's called supply and demand. When you have a tyrannical government that has done what these people have done to the United States of America by shutting it down, by crushing the oil company, and then guess what? They don't have it. They're tapping into the National Reserve. It's naturally the price of it is going to go up. At the gas pump, is going to go up. She's lying to every single person that will believe it.
More than 9,000 approved drilling permits remain untapped by the oil industry. At the same time, U.S. oil production is up and on track to reach a record high this year. Again, a record high. In fact, the United States has produced more oil in President Biden's first year than under the Trump administration's first year. Okay,
what? You hear this, and then she's gonna move on, right? So no dispute about it. No, don't debate me about it. Don't talk to me about it. How is that even possible? Because President Trump, we were energy independent. We were 100% energy independent. We were the #1 exporters of natural gas. How is it that they're so? You know what? It's because they have this demonic spirit in them. That's the only explanation how they can just come out there and lie like this. And we see the truth, we hear the truth, we know the truth, and they literally lie like we're not supposed to believe the truth. Believe the lies that they're telling us. But you know what's really sad is that there's a lot of people out there that know that she's lying and they just don't care. They just don't care. I'm willing to bet there's many of you right now, if not all of you, right now, I'm willing to bet that many of you know somebody that's a family member, a friend, a coworker, just an associate at some point where they believe the lies that they're telling. Even though they just complained about the gas pump, and then they still think that, well, it's not Biden's fault. This is Russia. It's Putin's fault. They still got that in their mind. Why? Because they push a lie out there so much that people believe the lie. And then when the truth does come along, they disregard the truth. They don't want to even hear the truth because they want to go along with that lie. Wow. It's so bizarre, right? This is happening like this. I mean, disregarding the truth. Here's another one. Joe Biden, he's doing this $20,000. And again, they're only doing this because they're trying to buy votes. I mean, I'm just going to flat out and say it. We all know that he's doing it. For the student loan forgiveness, they did this so they can buy votes because they see how bad the Democrat Party's doing, and they want people to buy. They're buying votes. $20,000 a pop. Come on. $20,000 a pop. Just the other day, and I was going to talk about it yesterday, but I had internet issues, but they said that Joe Biden actually, he talked about it. 4 million people. He said 4 million people just signed up within like the last couple of days. 4 million people. 4 million people at 20,000 a pop is $80 billion. Do the math. If you do it on your phone, it's going to give you error. You have to go on Google and do it. It's going to give you error. $80 billion. Just 4 million people. 4 million people. And then they're saying that it's only for a certain amount of people who make a certain amount of income. Listen to what he says. Listen to the people who is eligible for this student loan forgiveness.
In total, more than 40 million Americans can stand to benefit from this relief. And about 90%.
See that? 40 million people, 40 million now. Listen, will stand to benefit. So it's even going up. I guess I meant to say 40 million instead of 4 million. But listen.
90% of that relief is going to go to people making less than $75,000 a year.
That's the catcher right there. That's the catcher. He said these people are going to be making less than $75,000 a year. Now, originally they were saying that it was people who didn't make more than, I thought they said like 120,000. Didn't they say 120,000? So now he's saying it's for those that make less than 75,000. But that's not true either.
90% of that relief is going to go to people making less than $75,000 a year. Let me be clear. Not a dime will go to those in the top 5% of the income bracket, period. Now, let's talk about who is against helping millions of hardworking middle-class Americans.
And here comes the campaign pitch for 2022. The campaign pitch.
Republican members of Congress and Republican governors are trying to do everything they can to deny this relief, even to their own constituents. As soon as I announced my administration's student debt plan, they started attacking it, saying all kinds of things. And despite what the Republican officials say, we're able to afford the student loan relief. It's because of our historic deficit reduction the Republicans voted against.
You hear this? You hear this? Of course, everyone should be against it, right? Because if you took out the loan, if you signed the paper, well, you know what? I have a car, I have a vehicle, and I have a car loan, right? Can I get debt forgiveness on the car loan? No. And I don't even expect it. I don't even expect to get debt forgiveness on the car loan. How many of y'all have a car loan? How many of y'all have a mortgage? Right? How many of y'all were hurting after the whole thing that they did? Right? Y'all know what I'm talking about? The plan? Kung flu? Right? After they did that. How many of y'all are hurting after that? Is there any debt forgiveness there? Right? Are they just going to take it away? No, they're not going to. This is because they're trying to buy votes. That's all it is, hands down. Now, he just sit there and said that people making less than $75,000 a year, well, they're the only ones eligible for it. Well, I think he said 90% of those making $75,000 or less, they're eligible for it. Well, listen to what the experts say.
Another major problem with the program, according to student loan experts, it is ripe for mass-scale fraud and abuse. Take a listen.
Wow.
There will be people that will see that there's no verification and lie on the application and say that they're eligible when, in fact, they're not from an income perspective.
Right. We're talking about the corrupt government that we have right now, the corrupt FBI. Do you think the FBI is going to investigate him? Do you think so? I mean, if they find out that they're Republicans, maybe they might investigate them. But imagine how many people that are making more than 75,000. Maybe they're making 81,000. They said, "Well, I'm still struggling. It's just 81. It's just a couple over." Right? Who's going to do that? And look what they said. Look what they're asking for people to verify themselves for when they apply for this.
Applicants will have to provide their full name, date of birth, social security number, and contact information. That's it. They won't have to provide proof of income, which the forgiveness is supposed to be based on.
They won't have to provide any proof of anything, of their income. They won't have to. So basically, putting that information out there, you can't tell me out of 300 million plus people, right? It's about 320 million people. So we can say the 20 million are probably kids and stuff like that, right? Or we can say 100 million of them. We still got 200 million people. And you know what? This probably doesn't even include all the illegals coming into the country getting Social Security numbers. Come on now. Y'all know they're doing it. This is no secret. I'm not making anything up. People have been coming into the country multiple times with these fake Social Security numbers. They're not gonna validate any of it. They don't care. They truly don't care. This is terrible. And guess who's going to have to pay the bill? You and I. For 40 million people, right? Do the math on it. 40 million people at $20,000 a pop. 40 million, $20,000 a pop. What is that? My goodness. And then they wonder why the deficit is going so high. 31.1 trillion. 31 going up, and it's still climbing. And then they try to say, well, we brought it down 1 trillion. They brought it down 1 trillion, but then it goes up 9 trillion, right? But we brought it down. They only keep talking about the 1 trillion that they brought it down, but then it goes up. Let me talk about this real quick, if I can. Stacey Abrams and abortion. Stacey Abrams and the Democrats with abortion. You know, there's a video with Fetterman saying that, they should be able to abort the child at any point. It doesn't matter. If it's 9 months and 1 day, doesn't matter. Well, listen to Stacey Abrams as she's talking about the abortion issue.
Just asked you, you're running for governor of Georgia. I would assume, maybe incorrectly, but while abortion is an issue, it nowhere reaches the level of interest of voters in terms of the cost of gas, food, bread, milk, things like that. What could you do as governor to alleviate the concerns of Georgia voters about those livability, daily, hourly issues that they're confronted with?
Yeah, hear this. What would you do as governor, right? I mean, this is bizarre. Listen how she responds to this. This is another woman that has a demonic spirit in her. Listen to this.
But let's be clear. Having children is why you're worried about your price for gas.
Having children is the reason why you're worried about the price of gas. So what about people that don't have children that have to get to work, that don't make a lot of money? Are they not concerned about the price of gas? Really? What about adults that have, grown adults, and they have kids that need to go to work and they want to get to work and buy gas? Is that not a concern to them? That's not having children. She's alienating millions upon millions of people and trying to say that abortion and gas are related to one another. You can't make it up. Listen, these people, there's something truly wrong with them.
But let's be clear. Having children is why you're worried about your price for gas. It's why you're concerned about how much food costs. For women, this is not a reductive issue. You can't divorce being forced to carry an unwanted pregnancy from the economic realities of having a child.
Unwanted pregnancy, right? When most of it says unwanted, right? Unwanted pregnancy, right? Really? These people are using it as a birth control. And it's not even just talking about incest or rape. They're using it as birth control. You can't tell me that the millions upon millions of women that's aborting these children, they're not doing it because of, rape and incest. It's not happening. It's not.
And so it's important for us to have both and conversations. We don't have the luxury of reducing it or separating them out, but we also have to talk about what a governor can do. A governor can address housing prices. A governor can address the cost of education. A governor can put money into the pockets of everyday hardworking Georgians instead of giving tax cuts to the wealthy. That's what I talk about on the trail, and that's what's resonating. But let's not pretend that women, half the population, especially those of childbearing age, they understand that having a child is absolutely an economic issue. It is only politicians who see it as simply another cultural conversation. It is a real biological and economic imperative conversation that women need to have.
Ms. Abrams, this is Eddie Glaude. I want, first of all, congratulations.
Wow, really? So you're not having children, or you should be able to abort your child because gas prices are high. You should abort your child because food prices are high. abort your child because times are hard. Imagine if all of the black women would have been aborting their children during a time of slavery. Was it hard then? And what's really interesting that there was more black people during the time of slavery than there are now when it comes to the numbers, right? Because what's the population right now? Well, I guess the population might be going up now because, it's been pushed back to the states, and some of the states are not allowing you to murder children any longer, right? I'm still looking forward for the black population to reach 18%. At least, can we get 18%? 18%. 20 would be fabulous. But let's get 18%. But for the most part, for years, at least in my lifetime, it's always been around 13%. Close, sometimes maybe get close to 14, and then they pick up production on it again. Listen to Joe Biden as he gets triggered here. Listen to this.
Just hoping to clarify for midterm voters, top domestic issue, inflation or abortion.
Inflation or abortion, right? Because he just said a minute ago that, his top thing when in January is going to be abortion.
All important. Unlike you, there's no one thing. It crosses the board. Domestic, ask me about foreign policy too. There's multiple issues, and they're all important. And we ought to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. You know that old expression. Thank you. Thank you.
He's talking about we should better walk and chew gum at the same time. He can't do that. And again, their top priority going into this midterm election is abortion. And they were so, when the Supreme Court overturned it, they were so in the uproar saying, this is going to get people out to vote. Abortion is going to get them out to vote. But they're not seeing that any longer. It's like fizzling away. Actually, I have one that I don't think I shared this one with you. And let me see if I can find this one here, because I thought it was really interesting. It's really important how the liberal left wants us all to believe that abortion is going to get people out to vote, but they're starting to kind of change the tune. Listen to this one on the Today Show when they're talking about the numbers versus the economy, the crime, abortion. What's on your top priority? Listen.
We've talked so much all year about the economy and inflation being important issues. How about this? This is a New York Times poll, brand new here, asking voters what's the top issue on your mind this election. I haven't seen it this dramatic in a poll. Add the economy and inflation together. That is 44%. We're getting close to half of all respondents in this poll saying that's their top issue. Nothing else even cracks 10% right now. And we've talked about the Republicans, when it comes to the economy and inflation, having a pretty clear advantage in the polls.
And this is a New York Times poll that they're talking about here on the Today Show. And if you look at this, it's the economy at 26%, what they're saying most people are concerned about. But look what the last one they had down there. Crime. They have crime at 3%. Do you think people actually, and I'm wondering, did New York Times go to Republican states where the crime is not as high as it is in these blue states and blue cities? Do you think that's where they went and asked that question? Because if you go out, especially if you go out on Twitter, you can see all these videos. It's crime after crime after crime. It's just unbelievable with the amount of crime that we're seeing in the United States of America right now. And of course, I just played it where Biden was talking about how everyone is questioning, the economy, which one is important to them, economy or, abortion. Abortion is at the very bottom, because I guarantee when you go to the polls and you go vote, you want abortion, you're going to vote against it, right? Most of everyone is watching here. You're going to vote against it. But that's not the reason why people are concerned. Abortion is not going to put food on the table. Abortion is not going to put gas in the tank, right? Abortion is not going to keep your lights on. Abortion is not going to do any of that. People need to vote based on what you need to sustain life. That's what you need to vote on. All right. Listen to this one.
Thanks, Kareem. Following up on something Steve was asking, what is President Biden's top domestic priority now? Okay,
I've already played that one. This is the one I want you to hear.
Does President Biden want more migrants to come to Delaware?
I don't even understand that question, but I'll move on.
Did you hear that? You hear that? She doesn't even understand the question. Let me play it one more time because it goes really quick. Listen.
Does President Biden want more migrants to come to Delaware?
I don't even understand that question, but
how can you not understand the question? Does Biden want immigrants to go to Delaware? How do you not understand the question? You're the press secretary. You're supposed to be one of the brightest people, right? To be able to answer all these questions. How do you not understand the question? It's a really simple question. And she wants to avoid it. Don't want to act like she even heard it. Right? Don't even want to act like she even heard it. All right, I already played that one too. Look, these people are going to destroy America if they get their way this November. And I've already told y'all, and I know, right before the 2020, and I was telling people, I said, ooh, wait, I see something coming. I see something coming. And people were getting upset with me because I saw what was coming. And they said, Will, you need to stop saying it because you're going to speak it into existence. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, if I had that much power, I would do other things into existence. I'm just telling y'all, I see the writing on the wall. And I'm just relaying the information, and I'm just sharing what I see. And sometimes it's my point of view, and then sometimes I share with y'all what's actually happening, what they're talking about. I share that information with you. But what I see coming, and this is my point of view, what I see coming is it's going to change the very fabric of the United States of America. Just put it this way. The Democrats get what they want. Our sovereignty in our nation will go away 100%. We will no longer be a sovereign nation. They will hand us over to this global entity. And many of y'all know I'm telling the truth here. Many of y'all actually see it. Many of y'all see it coming. Man, just a couple weeks. Are y'all getting anxiety about this? Don't get anxiety, because according to God's word, it's going to be real bad at some point. But there's a lot of people want to pass. There's a lot of people want a free pass and not have to worry about any of it. They just want a free pass and don't, I'm going to be out here anyways. All right, let me say thank you to a couple of people before I bounce out of here. I want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you, everybody. I see people tuning in on the podcast. Thank you so much. I love it. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. I do my audio podcast Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Central, but I didn't do it today because I have been having internet problems, but I've gone this far without any internet issues. So walking on eggshells. Misty, thank you so much for the stars. I really do appreciate it. April, thank you as well. Michelle, thank you. Barbara, thank you. Fern, thank you. Vivi, thank you. Ange, thank you. Ruby, thank you for the stars. Laurel, thank you. I really do appreciate it. And just a tidbit of information. I realize now that Rumble, they're sending out notifications. So for everybody that is on YouTube, please, if you can, go sign up to the Rumble. And everybody on Facebook, I'm just singling out people on YouTube. I'm telling everybody, go create your free account. Okay? And the easiest way to connect with me on there is go to uaf.media. You see the UAF there? uaf.media. Go to uaf.media and connect with me there. uaf.media, and you'll see my Rumble. Just click on that and you connect with my Rumble. So I greatly appreciate everybody being with me. So we will see you on the flip side. God willing, hopefully my internet will stay up and stay strong. But stay prayerful, because God has already won the battle. God has already won. In the name of Jesus. Reality check.